What's up guys, it's Zero here. Today we're talking about Devil May Cry and the continuation of this beloved franchise. Let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Leo Layson of Gfinity Esports, why won't Capcom release a sequel to their award-winning game from 2019? Do all 6 installments take forever to make? So let's talk about it guys. If you've ever tried hacking and slashing demons while trying to achieve an S-rank combo, you'll know that the Devil May Cry franchise is possibly one of gaming's most innovative in the genre. Pioneering the classic hack and slash genre we know today, Devil May Cry paved the way for many action RPGs to flourish in modern gaming. It introduced combat that truly tests your skills as a player and even become the standard in modern gaming for flashy combat and gameplay. Now it's been 4 years since the latest release of the award-winning Devil May Cry 5 on Sony's PlayStation 5. Capcom are taking their time developing Devil May Cry 6. So, look, what I will say about Devil May Cry, guys, I'm not super well versed in the lore and the world that is Devil May Cry, but I've played these Devil May Cry titles, and I gotta tell you, man, they are very special. Like they're talking, these games really have taken the RPG genre to a whole nother level when you talk about like hack and slash and things of that nature. And so Devil May Cry absolutely should play a pivotal role in the continuation of like modern gaming, leading us into the next, Devil May Cry title, that being Devil May Cry 6. Capcom fans won't settle for that ending in Devil May Cry 5, especially since it was left as a cliffhanger. But why won't Capcom release at least a teaser of Devil May Cry 6? Is the franchise on hiatus? Will Dante and Virgil spar forever? From the looks of it, Devil May Cry 5 is the answer to all of these. So let's talk about the beginning of greatness, guys. Initially, Devil May Cry was developed as Resident Evil 4, which is possibly why Sony claims that the best Resident Evil game was born out of the best-selling PlayStation 2. Directed by Hideki, this pre-release version of Resident Evil 4 had a much bigger coolness element to it that Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami thought that it had strayed too far from the previous Resident Evil games. However, it was still too cool to be abandoned, so it was rewritten to fit the narrative of the first Devil May Cry game. Kamiya went to work on Dante's character, portraying him as someone you would want to go out drinking with, making Dante feel familiar with the audience, and thus, Devil May Cry was born. So, I think it's really cool, guys, learning about the history of Devil May Cry and how this actually was like a Resident Evil title that turned into this full-fledged franchise, and it's really cool to hear those things. I mean, Devil May Cry, guys, when I think of titles where you want to just hack and slash your way through a title and it also has rich story, it's got exciting characters and things of that nature, look no further than Devil May Cry. Now, the franchise's journey toward Devil May Cry 5's success was not smooth. Devil May Cry 2 wasn't stellar considering the first game was a commercial success. Capcom learned from its mistakes and improved Devil May Cry 3, but even the third installment had its own issues. The PC version was ported so poorly that devils may literally cry out of frustration. However, the PlayStation 2 version of Devil May Cry 3 became the standard for the upcoming titles in the franchise. Devil May Cry 4 and DMC Devil May Cry were fantastic in their own rights, which eventually led to the development of Devil May Cry 5. Across multiple platforms, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition is the most successful title in the series, second only to the original game on the PS2. Devil May Cry 5 perfectly recrafted the franchise formula while staying true to its roots. Nero's character is also a refreshing take on the series without overshadowing Dante and the other characters who made the franchise great. I agree. I mean, I thought that, at least in my personal opinion, guys, I thought Devil May Cry 5 was the best of the franchise. I thought it was an incredible title, and whether we're talking from a combat perspective, the environments, the characters, graphics, whatever you want to look at, I thought that Devil May Cry 5 was the standard. And obviously, it was a full-blown success for Capcom and the developers and things of that nature when we really think about, it was second only to the original game on the PS2. So where exactly is Devil May Cry 6 at this point? Well, Capcom did a fantastic job in developing Devil May Cry 5, which received various accolades such as the award for excellence during the 2019 Japan Game Awards, as well as the Best Visual Design Award during the Golden Joystick Award of the same year. And guys, these are some big numbers. Devil May Cry 5 has sold 8.7 million units as of October 2024, marking its place as Capcom's 11th best-selling game of all time. With this many accolades and sales from Devil May Cry 5, you can't help but wonder, is Devil May Cry 5 truly the reason why Capcom isn't doing Devil May Cry 6? Considering the gap between the 4th and 5th installments, Devil May Cry 6 may be a couple of years away. While Capcom will surely create a sequel as they should, the upcoming game has bigger boots to fill. With the success of almost every title in the franchise, Devil May Cry 6 is left with no choice but to further elevate the series in many ways that are not yet seen before. I 100% agree with this, guys. I think that Capcom, they really just need to take their time, make sure that the story that they're creating is going to be really compelling for obviously the current Devil May Cry, audience and player base, but also try to expand upon it to bring new players into the experience as well. And that is definitely a challenge, especially continuing to try to top what they did with Devil May Cry 5. And of course, that huge cliffhanger at the end of the game. I think a lot of people are expecting greatness out of Devil May Cry 6. So if they have to take their time in order to create the perfect experience for DMC, I'm totally down with it. 2024 is a weird year for game releases, and massive flops have started to become the norm. Devil May Cry 6 is in no position to be a subpar game compared to the rest of the franchise. Devil May Cry 5 introduced several new characters that can be the perfect cast as main protagonists. While Dante has been iconic since 2001, some may agree that the new characters were written so well that they can now bear the banner of the franchise. Devil May Cry 6 may be nowhere in sight, and many Devil May Cry fans will just have to put their faith in Capcom as they create the next revolutionary game of the franchise. Until then, the hunting and slaying will be in Monster Hunter Wilds, which obviously, guys, as a Devil May Cry fan, I'm not as much of a fan of Monster Hunter Wilds, even though, or I should say Monster Hunter as a franchise, it definitely does not replace, DMC. And so I think that Devil May Cry will absolutely happen. I have no doubt about that, guys. I think that this is absolutely going to be a title that does release at some point in the future. I think we may have to wait a number of years until the game comes out. I think we're probably going to be, at least hearing something about it. If not in 2025, 2026 is when we'll probably start hearing about Devil May Cry 6. We'll probably maybe get some teasers and things of that nature. And then in 2027, we'll probably start seeing gameplay and things of that nature. And so I think it's going to be a process. Capcom knows they got to knock this thing out of the park, especially after the ending of Devil May Cry 5, the success that was DMC 5. I think that they know they got to knock this thing out of the park to bring in new people and, of course, to retain all of those gamers who are, loving this franchise up to this point in time. Don't worry, guys. I do believe that Devil May Cry 6 will be coming at some point. It might just be a couple of years away. So stay tuned for, more information as we get it. I'll be sure to share it with all of you. Let me know, though, guys, in the comment section down below, what are the things that you want to see them do in Devil May Cry 6? Is there anything specific that you want to see them, change about the franchise or continue? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Devil May Cry content and videos, keep it right here.